Thank you. Travis County's Starflight is recognized as one of the top public safety helicopter programs in the entire country, not just here in Texas, the country. A new book that you're looking at here is titled Life Inside the Dead Man's Curve. Documents the ups and downs of Starflight crews as they respond to emergency. And the book's author, Kevin McDonald, is actually here this morning joining us live to talk about his book. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Sally.
You flew Starflight for 20 years.
Yes.
20 years in the air, some of the most tense emergencies and situations that this county has ever seen.
I did, and for 10 years before that, I was a naval aviator.
Wow.
And I knew once I got out of the Navy that I wanted to come back to Austin. I had attended UT on a Navy scholarship and pretty much fell in love with Austin when I was going to school. So when I got out of the Navy right after the first Gulf War, came back here, and I was fortunate enough to hire on the Starflight and did that for 20 years and worked with some really professional people. And in fact, you know, when I sat down and started writing the book, one of the things that I wanted to do was, there's a crew sitting over at the Brackenridge crew quarters as we speak,
right
just
now.
Blocks from the
Yep.
studio. And the problem is most of those people are humble to a fault. So if they were sitting here right now, you'd have a hard time trying to get them to talk about themselves.
No, this is true, because whenever we have a wildfire in Bastrop, whenever we have flooding, we don't usually get to hear from crew members from Starflight.
Right.
I mean, we get to tell people Starflight's in the air rescuing people off the rooftops of their car, but we don't get to actually hear what it's like to be in that helicopter, and that's what this book details.
That's correct. Like I say, it's hard to get those people to talk about themselves sometimes. But since I was a naval aviator for 10 years, I've never been constrained by modesty. So I didn't have any trouble sitting down to tell this story. The book is not just about me. Like I say, it's about the people with whom I worked. And I think some of these are stories that need to be told because you know, I witnessed some heroic things from the crew members who flew with me. And
well, let's not be modest either, because you put your life on the line in a lot of those emergencies. What does the dead man's curve actually mean? I was telling you during the break, I think of roadways when it comes to the dead man's curve. We're talking about up in the air. What does this mean?
And that's what most people think when they see the title. But the dead man's curve actually refers to an aerodynamic phenomenon that occurs on helicopter performance charts. There are combinations of altitudes and airspeeds that render the helicopter to a lot of vulnerability if anything goes wrong,
Sure.
just the slightest thing. And when you look at the helicopter performance charts, those airspeeds and altitudes are represented by a shaded area on the chart.
Okay.
And the line that delineates that shaded area, pilots refer to it as the dead man's curve because you're supposed to try to stay out of there.
How many times did you stay out of there?
Well, unfortunately, you know, when you're flying a public safety helicopter, by necessity, you're spending an inordinate amount of time inside that shaded area on the chart, hence
Wow.
the title, Life Inside the Dead Man's Curve.
So, Kevin, you going up there knew, I'm about to go up into the dead man's curve. I'm hoping that I'm able to rescue not only the person who's in trouble, but land safely so I can go home at night.
Yes, and you know, as the pilot, and I talk about this in the book, some of the most difficult decisions that I had to make were on mornings just like this, you know, where the weather is
Yep.
marginal and, you know, people rarely need to be rescued when the weather is clear and the visibility is unrestricted. So
This is fascinating.
a lot of the stress that was involved in flying for Starflight is just making the go, no-go decision. You know, do I launch or do I not?
Right. Okay. This is fascinating. We can talk to you for so much longer. Unfortunately, we have to go, but you can get this book right now. We're going to link Kevin's website to our website, kxan.com, and you can also get it on Amazon as well. Thank you for all that you've
Sally.
done.
Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. We'll be right back.